In this video, we're learning example number 1 in lesson 10.1, dilations. Remember, we learned that a dilation makes a figure either bigger or smaller. Okay, so it says, for the given dilation, find the scale factor. Then decide whether the dilation is an enlargement or a reduction. Okay, so we have to figure out, what is an enlargement and what is a reduction? And we know that a dilation makes a figure either bigger or smaller. So looking over here, let's see what Digits has to say about enlargements and reductions.
Suppose you have rectangle ABCD. You want to enlarge it using scale factor 3 with center of dilation at the origin. A is 2 units from the center, so A prime is 3 times 2, or 6 units from the center. C is 3 units from the center, so C prime is 3 times 3, or 9 units from the center. Similarly, B prime is 3 times as far from the origin as B. D is at the center, so D prime is in the same spot. Rectangle A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime is an enlargement of rectangle ABCD.
All right, so as you can see, the enlargement, here's the original figure, and here's the image figure, right? The image you can tell because it has the prime notation. The image figure is larger or bigger than the original figure, and it has a scale factor greater than 1. All right, so let's look at a reduction, what it would look like.
Suppose you have rectangle ABCD. You want to reduce it using scale factor of 1/3 with center of dilation at the origin. A is 6 units from the center, so A prime is 6 times 1/3, or 2 units from the center. C is 9 units from the center, so C prime is 9 times 1/3, or 3 units from the center. Similarly, B prime is 1/3 as far from the origin as B. D is at the center, so D prime is in the same spot. Rectangle A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime is a reduction of rectangle ABCD.
Okay, so notice in this one, the original figure is this big one right there. So the image figure got smaller. That's what a reduction is. Okay, so let's take a note on what they said about the scale factor. All right, because we have to decide whether this dilation is an enlargement or reduction. Well, what the video just told us is that an enlargement has a scale factor greater than 1. And it makes the image bigger than the original. And a reduction has a scale factor less than 1 and it makes the image smaller than the original figure. Okay, so now we have to figure out, how do we figure out what the scale factor is? It says in our example, find the scale factor. This is how you do it. A scale factor is basically, you need to find the ratio, okay, between the corresponding sides of the original figure and the image figure. So here we have, let's write that down, the scale factor ratio. The scale factor ratio is we have to figure out, here's two corresponding sides. Here we see PQRS is the original, and then P prime, Q prime, R prime, S prime. That's the image figure. From the original figure to the image figure, it looks like it's getting bigger, so this should be an enlargement. We have to take two corresponding sides. PS in the original figure corresponds with P prime, S prime. We have to figure out what's the ratio from PS to P prime, S prime to figure out what the scale factor is, okay, how it's getting bigger. So the scale factor is you take the image side length, and it's a fraction, right, because that's what a ratio is, the image side length over the original side length. Okay, this is like a little formula. The scale factor ratio is the image side length over the original side length. We are finding the scale factor. So how do we do that? Well, the image side length here, after the dilation, is P prime, S prime. And we put it over the length of the original side length, which is PS. Right? You're trying to figure out the ratio between those two. Now let's count the units. We need the image side length. PS is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units long. So it's 6 over. Then we have to figure out, well, how long is PS? The original side length is 1, 2, 3. So the ratio between the image figure and the original figure side length, 6 over 3. Well, 6 over 3 is like 6 divided by 3, which is 2. That is the scale factor. The scale factor is 2. But let's check to make sure that it's true for at least one more side. It's going to be the same for all sides. The scale factor is going to be the same. Let's check. We'll check going from, how do you go from SR to S prime R prime? What's my scale factor? Well, we need the image side length. The image side length is the prime notation, so it's the ratio between S prime R prime over the ratio between SR. Those are corresponding sides. S prime R prime is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units long. And SR is 1, 2, 3, 4 units long. So the ratio here between the corresponding side lengths is 8 over 4. Well, 8 over 4 is 8 divided by 4, which is also 2. So we just check to make sure. And it'll work for all of them. If you check the ratio between QR, Q prime, R prime, and QR, it'll be 2. If you checked P prime, Q prime, and corresponding side PQ, it'll be the same ratio. That's the scale factor ratio. Basically what that's saying, if the scale factor is 2, that means that this figure is 2 times the size of the original figure, right? It's 2 times bigger. Since the scale factor, now we have to figure out, well, is this an enlargement or a reduction? Here, our scale factor is 2. An enlargement is when the scale factor is greater than 1. So we just figured out that this is an enlargement because the scale factor is greater than 1. Okay, the scale factor is greater than 1. It's 2, which means, again, the image figure is 2 times bigger than the original figure. It's going to get larger. Okay, now watch the, or try the got it and then watch the got it video to see if you got it correct.